There is one question that I get asked more than any other question, and that's how do I make money with my laser? I spent all this money and now I want to get some of it back. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 things that will let you make some money, and they're pretty easy. So let's get started. Hey, welcome back. Now I'm going to begin very quickly here by saying I have 3 projects that I'm going to create, and I'll show you how. I'm going to start with the easiest one and work my way up, but none of these projects is particularly difficult to create, and all of them are really cheap as far as materials go, so you'll be able to create something quickly and sell it for profit, and we'll get started on that. Now I have the Wecreat Vision and air purifier here from the last video I did, so I thought I would just use that one. I know lots of people on the channel have those. So it's a good one to start with, but you can make any of these projects with any diode laser virtually. So that's the context, and we'll start with project number 1. For this first simple project, I'm going to make a garden stake, and I've talked about these before. I've made hundreds of them, and I normally use acrylic, and I want to use acrylic here as well because it lasts longer, but if you want to use plywood or something, you're welcome to do that too. Now, what I normally would do is use any color of acrylic, but here I'm going to use black because a diode laser really only cuts black. And you can see I'm putting a blue outline around it here. And that's because black acrylic on the black workspace of the Wecreat is just invisible. So the blue gives me a little outline. And then I can drag this template that I've created for a garden stake and put it where I want it on the material. And next I'll put some text down there, and I'll just drop a word, and I'll use cilantro. It's as good as any. And when I get it typed in there, I'll drag it up to the place where it needs to be, and I'll resize it and position it finally. Now I want it to be a fill, so I've told Wecreat that I'm using black acrylic, and it shows me this nice material setting, and I'm just going to pick the brightest one here, which is that one in the upper left corner. And it's a really nice touch because I never have to run a material test. Now, I also want to do a cut. I want to cut the outline of the acrylic, so all I have to do is select the outline and select cut because it already knows it's black acrylic. So that's it. It's pretty simple to create. Now, all I really have to do is just send it over to the laser and push the start button on the front of the laser. Now, I won't show you the boring laser job, but I'll show you the result here. And you can see the stake just popped right out of the material. Those Wecreat settings are just deadly accurate, and you don't have to mess with them, which is nice. And a quick wipe, and this garden stake is ready to go. Now, the beauty of these from a revenue money perspective is they use maybe 3 or 4 square inches of material, so they cost pennies to make. And if you target maybe a garden center and set up a rack, or if you're at a garden show of some sort, you can sell these things. I've been selling them, typically a lot of them, for $2 a piece or 3 for $5, and they sell like hotcakes. So there's project number 1, and go give it a try. Time to move on to idea number 2, which is to make either dog tags or keychains. These are very popular at craft fairs, or if you can maybe target a vet's office, you can post either samples or an ad in their office and get people that way. People will always spend money on their pets, but they also spend money on keychains because everybody keeps losing their keys. Anyway, I found these tags on Amazon. They're like 20 for $6 or $7. They're really cheap, and you can engrave these things really quickly. So all you have to do is drop them into your workspace. In this case, Wecreat Make It, and again, put some text on. Now, Wecreat has some special material settings for some of these. It oddly has a blue painted aluminum tag, and you can pick that. And the nice thing, again, of course, is you get to pick exactly the color you want to engrave. So I'll pick one. And I won't show you all the details here because it's fundamentally the same as making a garden stake, but you get the idea. I'm just going to send it over to the laser and hit the start button. And again, I'll forego the usual laser moving back and forth to do the job, and just show you the result here. And you can see these things come out amazingly well. They usually come with a little ring, and I put the ring on there in this case, and there you go. Again, for pennies, you can create these things, and then you can sell them for dollars. And anytime you get that kind of margin, it's a good thing. Now you don't want to go into the dog tag business, but this is one of those things where they're just kind of handouts at fairs, and people love these things and they'll pay money for them. All right, we'll call this last project the advanced project, and that's not because it's inherently difficult. It's no more difficult than the previous ones. Primarily, it's because it uses quote-unquote the most expensive material. Now, I go to the dollar store and I get these bamboo cutting boards. They're less than $5, $4.75, and they're actually really good quality, so you can really amp up your game here by engraving something on these. So I'll go into Wecreat Make It here and I'll drop my conversion table on. And what I'm going to do is effectively make more of a wall hanger than a useful board. But people are always wondering how to convert things, so I created this little table, and I can drop it on the board, size it, position it, do all the things I would normally do. And again, I'm not going to go into intricate detail here, but I'll get it positioned and then I'll select a material. Now, there isn't a bamboo setting in Wecreat by default, but it's pretty close to the settings for basswood that I've determined, and I'll pick a suitable one here. Now, if you are making one where maybe you're putting this conversion table in the lower corner, you don't want to go too deep because you don't want food and stuff stuck in there. So I picked that setting just because it's dark, but it doesn't leave a measurable indent into the wood. Lay it down, get it all set up, and start the laser job. And I'll actually show you this one just because it's kind of cool. And as it progresses here, you can see how this is taking shape. And when the engraving's finished here, you can see that the results are pretty remarkable. This looks great. Now, you don't have to make a board like this. You could just take this conversion table and put it in the lower corner so it's still readable, but the rest of the board is still usable. The other thing you could do is target these at craft fairs. They sell like crazy if you're making these wall hangers especially. But you could do engraving for weddings or just, Sarah's kitchen if you just want to put something on. The other place I would suggest is you target real estate agents because they're in and out of houses all the time. And they really like to leave little gestures for customers when they open their door for the first time and they walk into their kitchen and they see this really cheap cutting board actually, but it looks really cool. And they feel good about that. They feel like a real estate agent cares. Anyway, I use the Wecreat Vision for all of these, but you can use any laser. The Wecreat Vision wasn't an accident in this case. I wanted it because it's got that excellent alignment on the camera, especially with this big cutting board. I didn't have to do a whole bunch of framing and reframing to get things positioned properly. I also use the air purifier behind me that I used in the previous video. More as a real-world test, so I cut acrylic here and I did a lot of engraving on this board and it performed very well. I didn't get one sniff of acrylic or wood actually while I was engraving. So keep those in mind if you're interested. I'll put links to those down below. Those are affiliate links, so if you buy either of these Wecreat products, you're helping me out. And I'll also put some Amazon links down there for some of the materials. The cutting boards I'm sure you could buy on Amazon, but I wouldn't bother because you can go to a local dollar store and get these things usually. And with that, we'll wind down and go out there and make your world and make it profitable with some of these ideas, and I'll see you next time.